Springs, Arkansas.
The presidential candidates crisscross key states in the race for the White House. I'm Natalie Brand with their strategy in the final stretch before Election Day.
And do you like scary movies? Weigh in on today's Instapoll question at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The search is underway for the son of a murder victim in Vernon County, Missouri. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, authorities released the name of a woman found dead Wednesday morning. Officers found 63-year-old Connie Goodwin on Quail Road near the Kansas state line in the Deerfield area. Vernon County Sheriff's Office requested assistance from the Highway Patrol for the investigation. In Arkansas, Hot Springs police yesterday also released information on a suspicious package found at a Hot Springs Walmart. They found possible evidence in a trash bag in the back of a pickup truck that was later connected to the investigation in Vernon County. Through surveillance video, they discovered the package was put in the truck at a hotel the night before. Now, the Hot Springs, Arkansas Police Department is looking for the victim's son, Aaron Goodwin. He's wanted for abandonment of a corpse. They believe he is armed and dangerous and say he was last seen in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The search is underway for a new city manager in Fort Scott, Kansas. The current city manager, Dave Martin, announced his retirement last week. His last day is today. Commissioners say they're in talks with a company to search for qualified candidates, but want to make sure the price is right.
And we'd like some time to digest it because it's a flat rate of $7,900 is what we believe to start off with them to research and bring us candidates. And you know, with decreasing population and things of that nature, we would like to make sure that every penny we have is spent wisely.
At yesterday's meeting, city commissioners also voted to switch their insurance provider to a local agency. City of Joplin releases new drawings of the proposal for Joplin's Memorial Hall. Earlier this week, officials held another public meeting to discuss the survey results for the future of the aging building. The survey focused on preliminary drawings of potential design changes. Now, these drawings were also released, providing a more detailed look at what the future of the building could be. These latest drawings are now part of a third survey. You can find it on the City of Joplin's website. Well, there's definitely nothing spooky about today's forecast. Maybe just Michael. He joins us with the first look.
I'm already hitting the Halloween candy. I got to give Mrs. Dishman a big special thank you. Our own Darren Dishman brought this up and dropped this off for us. Mrs. Dishman, thank you very much for keeping us fed here during the noon hour with an even special Halloween bag. I just thought that was tremendously
So you're going to be
nice
hyped up on energy throughout the rest of the show.
Greatly appreciated. All right, Tanya, before we get to our Halloween forecast, let's talk about the Friday at hand. Nice change of pace here. No cloud cover, whole bunch of sunshine, and chance to dry out from a week's worth of rain. Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin sitting at a very comfortable 54 degrees. Now I say you go, that's a little bit cooler than what we'd normally anticipate this time of year, but I say it's pretty comfortable because earlier this morning we were down below the freezing mark in a number of our communities. 53 right now in Lamar, 51 in Miami, 56 in Chanute, and we will even put some 60s on the board here later on in between the 3 and 4 o'clock hour. As we transition into Saturday morning, certainly not going to be as cold as what we experienced this morning, and regionally speaking, dry, sunshine, those are the two key factors as we have a nice weekend in store. Now, as the kids get ready to head out during the nighttime hours, sitting about 60 right there. Look at this. We're just going to hover in the 50s. It's going to be perfect for them. Of course, everybody be extra safe if you're driving around Saturday night. Know that we got to be the responsible ones and look out for them. And then on Sunday, hopefully you get a little bit of sleep after that, but don't forget to set those clocks back before you doze off. Coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya, we do have a special little Halloween forecast that we'll unveil for you. You'll have to stay tuned for that in, say, about 9 minutes.
All right. Well, maybe not quite that long, but we'll be there. We'll be there. All right, we are entering the final stretch of the 2020 presidential election, and each candidate is shifting his focus from winning over new voters to making sure the supporters get out and vote. Today, that effort will be concentrated on the Midwest. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
President Trump and his Democratic challenger Joe Biden are battling it out in key Midwestern states today.
We're going to be in Iowa, we're going to be in Wisconsin, so I thought I'd stop in Minnesota. I don't take anything for granted. We're going to work for every single vote up to the last minute.
Each candidate is focused on making sure supporters get out and vote.
When you use your power, the power of the vote, we literally are going to change the course of this country for generations to come.
You have to get out and vote. We are creating the greatest red wave in the history of our country.
President Trump will head to Wisconsin and Michigan, two states he narrowly won in 2016 and are key battlegrounds this year.
We're doing incredibly all over, and this isn't based on polls, this is based on fact. This is based on votes that are coming in.
The travel schedule tells the story of where this race could be won or lost, and it could come down to two states, Florida, where both candidates campaigned yesterday, and Pennsylvania, where both candidates are headed this weekend.
I really don't know. It truly is up in the air.
Professor Larry Stratton of Waynesburg University in southwestern Pennsylvania says the key is turnout in the areas where each candidate is strongest.
If you drive in the suburbs of Philadelphia, I was there 2 weeks ago, there are Biden signs everywhere. In some of the suburbs of Pittsburgh, they would be mixed. In this area, it's overwhelmingly for Trump.
Biden is still leading in the polls in Pennsylvania, but President Trump narrowed the gap. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Trump will deliver a speech in Newtown, Pennsylvania tomorrow. That's a suburb of Philadelphia. Joe Biden will campaign in Philly on Sunday, and then he and his running mate and their spouses will head to all four corners of the state on Monday. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at Noon. Is it ever really your house? Netflix drops a new thriller just in time for Halloween. We'll get a preview. And later, looking for a quick and tasty Halloween treat, we're making cookie eyeballs in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Keep it here. Just in time for Halloween, there's a new Netflix horror movie that puts an unsettling spin on your typical haunted house flick. David Daniel gives us a preview.
Congratulations. You're being released as asylum seekers, not as citizens, not yet. You will be sent to a home of our choosing. You must not move from this address.
We are good people.
Shape Dirisu and Wumi Musaku play Sudanese immigrants trying to make a new life in the UK in his house.
I saw something in the dark. You have felt it too.
But they're not alone in their new home. Is it memories of their painful past or something else?
How quickly you forget everything we went through to get here. We are not going back.
Paul is trying to create a new version of himself that hasn't done the things that he needed to do to survive to get here.
There's a part of the story where they're like kind of haunted by themselves and what they are and who they were and what they're becoming.
Writer-director Remy Weeks plays with horror movie tropes to upend audience expectations.
Really a pleasure to see two characters who treat this haunting in ways that perhaps you haven't seen before, and in ways that enable to really complicated people to dig into themselves and try and work out how to move forward in their lives.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Ooh, and we want to know if you're a fan of scary movies. Let us know. Just grab your phone real quick, log on to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Your options are definitely not, only on Halloween, I like some, or I'm a horror fanatic. Right now, definitely not's in the leaderboard. If you'd like to change that, log on. Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
Tomorrow. And the recipe we're making today is spookishly eye-popping.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Now that we're going to finish off October in a dry fashion and actually begin November as well, we can kind of wrap up our monthly and yearly precipitation totals to see where we are. And this week, do you want to talk about a big contributing factor? We're actually going to finish about ½ an inch up from normal. And think about how dry October started out. And yeah, like I said, we're actually going to exceed it. And now, for our yearly total, go back to January 1, we're going to be about 1.8 inches above normal. Have to remember, about halfway through the month, we found ourselves actually below where we'd normally be, and that was coming off those first 5 months of the year where we thought we were underwater every day. Skywatch Storm Tracker, clear as a bell. Not only us, but it's been just a delightful high-pressure system over the entire Midwest here on this Friday. Bright blue sky outside of Television City, and the temperature, nice little rebound from what we had this morning, where we actually saw wind chills of like 25 to 27 degrees. Now we sit at 54 as the wind shifted. Was coming in from the east this morning. Now it'll roll in from the south for the rest of Friday into Saturday. 55 in CJ, 56 in Fredonia, and 53 in Nevada. And speaking of that wind, we're going to see it increase. It's just rolling about 5 to 10 right now, 12 in Chanute. But by the time we get to tonight, we'll be talking about 10 to 15 gusting 25 to 30 miles an hour. Just want you to be apprised of that if you got anything sitting outside. Now, as far as what we're looking at, that was Zeta. She's pushed off toward the mid-Atlantic. She's done for the most part. So let's just keep our sunshine all day long, able to make it up into the 60s during the afternoon hours. Peak heating hours this time of year, usually about 3 to 4 p.m. is where we kind of top out right there. And then as we transition into the night, even though we have clear skies, the nice thing is we're not going to drop as low as what we had early this morning. We'll be able to stay in the 40s, and there's that graphic for the south wind. A couple things I want to point out. Number one, as we transition to our Halloween forecast on Saturday, don't forget, full moon, October 31st. This is what it'll be called the Hunter's Moon, and also be a blue moon. Blue moon indicated, I think it was set back in 1947 when they came up with that designation for the old blue moon. Blue moon being 2 full moons in the same month. That's how we started off October. That's how we're going to end it as well. It's going to be a gorgeous sight, and don't worry, if you do miss it on Saturday, it's got 3 or 4 days where it's just going to be absolutely huge, and our sky's going to be extremely clear. You want to talk about a gorgeous, gorgeous looking Saturday night. Tanya, Tanya, there you go. You're asking if you dance. She's clapping now. We're still talking about 60 degrees right before sunset. Sunset about 6:23, 6:24, right in that range. Clear skies then overnight. But look at these marvelous temperatures for the kids who are going to be out trick-or-treating. Just make sure you're extra caution out there. Let's be very, very wary of all our little ghouls and goblins enjoying a good night of trick-or-treating. Now, for future track on Sunday, it is going to be a little bit cooler. Probably only make it up to the 50s on Saturday into Sunday. But then after that, look at all this sunshine. No precipitation, no cloud cover as we begin November. Don't forget, Sunday, early Sunday morning / before you go to bed Saturday night, turn that clock back. As we get to pick up an hour back to Central Standard Time. And Tanya, that Tuesday Election Day forecast, almost 70 degrees, plenty of sunshine. So I know turnout's been at a record-setting level so far for the advanced voting. Mother Nature is not going to slow down anybody from getting out to the polls should they choose to do it November 3rd.
You know, your mummy was just so unraveling.
It's Friday, folks. It's Friday. That's why I take a deep breath.
I love it. Love it. All right. Happy Halloween, everybody. Well, tomorrow is Halloween, and because of the pandemic, many folks will be getting their scares at home this year. And what better way to do it than with a classic horror flick? And that's the subject of today's Instapoll. We've been asking if you like scary movies. Started this poll early this morning, and you've been voting at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Here's a look at our final results. So we got some in there liking it, but not enough. Definitely not wins the poll with 53% of the vote. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Right into the weekend with sunshine and very mild temperatures. Great looking Halloween night. Turn the clocks back on Sunday. Tanya?
Well, museums are often filled with creepy items, and these might be some of the worst. The Joplin History and Mineral Museum has gathered a collection of creepy dolls, and they want your help to determine the creepiest among them. On the museum's Facebook page, they're posting pictures of the dolls along with what makes them so disturbing. They're asking you to tell them which doll creeps you out the most. Oh, I've got a few of those that I've inherited over the years. They stay in storage.
My wife has one that belonged to her mother, and it's creepy.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of that cracked porcelain, stares at you, unblinking.
All right, what do we have coming up tonight at 5, Dal?
Nothing quite as scary as those dolls, but around 22 million Americans lost their jobs in March and April when the pandemic hit. About half are back to work, but millions are still struggling to find work. We're going to look at the stigma that many job seekers say is keeping them off the clock. Plus, a federal judge rules incarcerated people should receive stimulus checks, but it's unclear if that includes people in county jails. And we'll hear from the Cherokee County Sheriff David Groves on what they received from the IRS. There's also a lot of superstition surrounding the number 13. We're going to tell you about one city that, except for a tiny sliver, has no 13th Street. Join us at 5.
Tanya, I know we did it this morning. Both of us want to wish you a very happy birthday, Mr. Quick.
Thank you.
Happy
Appreciate
birthday.
it. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.